Hey Watts, why are you doing this again? I don't know. I want to make an entertaining video, I guess. You do realize that you are a left-handed person, using your right hand to control the very precise movement of your character, right? Well, my left-hand options didn't work out too good. You know that you're gonna fall, right? Yeah. Alright, I'll leave you to it then. Well, with that cheery monologue out of the way, I can finally start the video. I know this was a very long and very hard wait for you guys, but I think your patience will be rewarded. Getting over it is the sort of game where anything can happen, or nothing, as shown by my efforts in Stairway to Heaven, which is actually right where I left off in my last video. The thing that sucks about this area, combined with the other bad bits, is that it's a pretty sizable fall that you just can't pop right back up from again. You need to do slide skip, which, sorry about calling it stair skip last video. I know all of the getting over it tryhards were in the comments raging. But yeah, so you need to get over slide skip all the way over again anytime you want to even try to progress. If you can't tell, slide skip is not my strong suit, especially considering the type of settings that I was using at the time. More on that later, by the way. Luckily, Tyler the Creator's newest album had just dropped, and I decided to listen to it. In retrospect, this was a bad idea, because every time I'd actually make progress into the next major area, some song would pop up and just make me not focused at all. It was kind of like in the first episode when I was on a Discord call and made zero progress. After I realized that I had made my way through about half the album, I decided to make a music and outside distractions ban because I really just wanted this to be over. I think it ended up working out pretty good because just a few minutes later, after I stopped the music, I was able to hit Orange Hell, named after this cute little orange that you sacrifice into the pit of doom and despair, aka Bennett Foddy's soul, for just a little bit of luck as you continue on your journey. This was actually my fourth time up here, as I had reached it at one point in my previous video, and twice in my 20-something minutes of listening to Chromacopia, but each time that I'd made it, I had been in a bit of a rush, having learned nothing from all the tips and tricks videos that told me going fast was for idiots and people who actually knew what they were doing, and because of this, all 3 times before this, I had fallen due to a really dumb error or two. But this time, it was different. This time, I was locked in, and moving at a snail's pace because I was scared for my life. But it didn't matter once I got past the church and its little bat jump scare that I was ready for, but still ended up forgetting about and losing my mind to. But at least it was impossible to accidentally fall lower than this point from here on out, right? For once, I am so happy that this isn't foreshadowing. But now that I'd finally made it past the fiery slopes of hell, it was into the freezing cold land known as the Snowy Bit. Yes, a real creative name, I know, but that's what this place is. It has 3 major obstacles: the hat jump, the anvil jump, and the bucket jump. I hate all of these more than slide skip because they are somehow even more slippery than the stair bit. I feel like this bit was kind of made as a sort of final challenge before you go to the end because it wasn't too hard after this. But you best believe that I was having a horrible time while I was getting to those easier finishing bits. All of those jumps force you to pogo jump really well, which is not my strong suit. I'm more of a windmill jump guy myself, but I still had to do this to get to the end. So I trudged on, and eventually I made it past hat jump with some hood tactics that I learned on YouTube, just to immediately hook onto the stupid hat and fall back down. Luckily, unlike the stair bit from earlier, if you fall here, it takes a grand total of about 5 seconds to get up. I also finally optimized my mouse settings a bit, and boy did they make a difference. I removed mouse acceleration and boosted my sensitivity a bit, and all of a sudden it felt like I was able to fly over the place without being too out of control. After I changed these, it wasn't a problem of if I had enough power in my swing to make it up the jump. It was more if I could grab onto the other side without bouncing or falling off. And soon enough, I was able to make it right past the jump and onto anvil jump. which honestly wasn't too bad if you had a good lineup. People say that these are the 2 hardest jumps in the game, so I was pretty happy that I actually had them in the rearview mirror. After I got past that though, I had to tackle the floating balls, which I actually managed to get on my first try, thanks to my skills from Anvil Jump, along with taking my time, which was a skill that I was finally starting to grasp, albeit towards the end, but hey, still got it. And honestly, at this point, I was just happy that I found an obstacle that didn't screw me over at least 3 times before I gotten past it. Better late than never, I guess. This brought me to bucket jump, which a lot of people hate because of the odd physics of the bucket, and while I agree with them, it wasn't too bad. I say this mostly because I did it pretty close to the first try, but we're gonna just skip past that. Except I fell right after it, and it was really bad, and I ended up at the cathedral again with the stupid bats. It wasn't fun. I was pretty close to losing it, I'd say. It was not a fun time. But because I'm an annoying masochist who tries to leech off of your empathy, could you give me a bit of moral support and maybe some mental support too? By going down and liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and maybe commenting your favorite part of the video so far. Or give me recommendations for my channel. Alright, that's enough of my yapping. Back to the video. Even though this fall sucked when I was so close to the end, it didn't really affect me much because I was unbelievably locked in at that point, due to me wanting to just beat the game. So it didn't take too long for me to get back to the bucket jump, and after a few more tries, I had gotten past it. Which brought me to Ice Mountain. Not gonna lie, I feel like this bit gets a bit overhyped as like a really tough bit, because it requires you to trust the parts of the game that you can't see, and it also requires you to trust your hammer, which kind of goes against what the game had been trying to teach you up until that point. Luckily, I A, have the biggest screw it, I'm not going to take anything out of this mentality, known to man. B, I am so horrible at using my right hand for things that it doesn't matter if I can see my goal or not, as luck is about 99% of my success either way. And C, I was so scared of falling down and accidentally riding that stupid snake that I was unbelievably careful climbing up the harder half. Yes, I did research on this game, can you tell? With all this combined, I got through the ice wall in only a few minutes, which is better than other people I've seen. And after I finally got past the ice wall, it was time for the final segment, Low Gravity Land. This is from the radio tower all the way up until space, the end of the game, and it almost feels like a victory lap, showing how you finally made it. You scale up the big radio tower at the end as gravity gets lighter, and you can definitely feel some sort of moving on from the normal game, even if you're playing the game first time, spoiler free. The radio tower itself isn't that bad, honestly, as long as you stick your hammer out a decent bit, and be careful if you get stuck in the dishes. Look at all my fancy research paying off. Once I got over the tower though, I got to go to the freest section of the entire game, space. As far as I know, it's almost impossible to fall from space unless you do some sort of an upside down pogo very intentionally, and even then it would still be a pretty big challenge as all the asteroids just pull you towards them. I feel like it was kind of ironic to put a really easy section at the end when it had been getting harder and harder as things went on. But then again, the ending bit of the game just kind of felt like it threw everything out the window that I'd learned so far, so I wasn't super surprised. Space was tackled pretty quickly though. After way too much blood, sweat, tears, and carpal tunnel symptoms from squeezing my mouse, I beat it. My final time was just under 5 hours, which I'm very proud of. I know for people who haven't played this game before and only seen a YouTuber, and you know, that those are the only people that have seen them play the game, and I feel like those type of people that only get this from YouTube don't really get a good grasp on the nature of getting over it physics. And hey, I was in that boat too when I first started, so don't feel bad or anything. Just keep the nice statistic that only about 9% of the people who have played Getting Over it have actually beaten it in your head the next time you think it's easy. I would really recommend getting it if this video has made you interested at all, as it can get addicting pretty quick. I mean, I'm probably going to be doing another couple runs of this game at least. Probably streaming one, making another uncut footage video for another. Who knows? But unfortunately, this credit sequence is only so long. So with that, I'm going to have to say goodbye for now. What's out?